champ is here. I must be the greatest. The champ is here.
I'm going to continue to stand with the people.
The champ is here.
I will not lose.
I'm a bad man. I shook up the world.
Yes, welcome. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with we. My name is EJ, and I got my man.
MH.
Oh, there he is. Hey, we are Black in Sports here interviewing the best professionals in the game and in the boardroom. We're covering it all, laughing at it all while providing a platform to be heard. So you know what we do about this time. We have to bring in our guests. So we want to welcome our guests. And I would assume, it's Detroit over everyone. All right. So with that type of believe it energy, she's been putting up numbers ever since her college days and just that winner mindset mentality all the way into her coaching days. Some stints here, baby, you've seen, if you've read the bio, Princeton, Creighton, North Carolina, Michigan, just to name a few. All right. But now, we're jumping into that continuous believe it spirit as you are now the Kathy Delaney Smith head coach for the Harvard women's basketball. Please clap it up for Coach Carrie Moore. Thank you, Ms. Moore, for jumping on with us today, this evening for you, right?
Yeah, of course, EJ. I appreciate it. I'm excited to be on. That intro video got me hype. I'm ready to go now. So let's do it.
Well, all right, since you're ready to go, we start our show as we always start our show with a shoot your shot moment. All right. So this is a time where you bet on yourself. You could have took an L and learned a lesson, or you got the bag, you got the cash, and you ran off into the sunset. So please give us a quick shoot your shot moment.
Ooh, this is like something that a lesson learned from.
Anything, shoot your shot moment, a lesson learned. It could have been any part of life during basketball days, during those early days, early coaching days, things that you learned. But just anytime you shot your shot, win or lose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm constantly learning. I feel like, life is just an endless, book of lessons, especially now as a head coach, only being 3 years in, just every day. But, I'd like to pull from my kind of adolescence a lot, and just the lessons learned at that age and just getting into the sport and playing at a high level and competing. And I think, the biggest one is, my high school team that I was on was a big kind of trendsetter for me in my life. And, I say this a lot of like, I was never the best player on my high school team, like not even my senior year. Like, I was very much a utility player. Like I just wanted to win. And no matter what I had to do that, whether it was guard the other team's best player, score a lot of points, get the ball to whoever needed to score a lot of points, just do what I needed to do, be a great communicator, be a great teammate, just buy into the system. And, fortunately for our team that was what I needed to do for us to be successful. But I think I learned, to be selfless in those moments. Like, of course, everyone wants to be the best player and have the ball in their hands and, be the go-to guy. But for me, it was like, okay, well, I'd rather be on a great team. So whatever I need to do to take the back seat and just, sometimes it's just blend in and do the right things and just be coachable at the end of the day. So I think my shot back then was, I just want to win. So tell me what I got to do that, and I'll get on board.
I love it. So, Coach, where did your love for sports start?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just my family, right? Like, I actually started in dance. My mom wasn't really she wasn't a basketball player or this type of sport. Like she was a dancer. She was in a theater. She did all that kind of on stage stuff in front of folks. And for me, I did that for probably 6 years, and then middle school came about, and my best friends were kind of playing basketball, and I was like, oh, this looks fun. And my older brother at the time, he's 3 years older than me. He was playing hoops. He was playing baseball. He was playing football. I mean, he was doing it all. And I just kind of was in the gym with him and his friends and my dad. And he's a lefty, so everybody called him Lefty. I was Lefty's little sister. I didn't even have a name really until he graduated and was off doing his own thing. So yeah, just Detroit, the sports back then were great. Like no knock on where they are now, but I mean, growing up, it was the Pistons were really good. That was Chauncey and Ben Wallace and Rip and those guys. So to just, loved watching those games with my family. The Tigers were good. The Red Wings were good. Go down the line. So just,
You missed out on the Lions because I don't know how good.
just now starting to get good. Really.
Yeah.
They've
improved.
Shout out to Dan Campbell. He's making a miracle happen over there.
I love it. And so, Coach, I'm going to get off subject a little bit. I'm a Knicks fan, and so
okay.
I love the series this past year with the Pistons.
Yeah.
What's kind of your thought on the Pistons as they continue to grow and everything and make this resurgence?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it kind of came out of nowhere. I think, having kind of back-to-back, high draft picks, I think everybody was expecting them to be good, but didn't really know if it was going to pan out, with 2 coaching changes in 3 years, I guess. That was pretty sudden, I think, for a lot of us, but they're young, right? So it's going to take them a little bit of time to kind of mesh and gel and grow and learn about the league and how to succeed in the league when you're playing against a lot of veteran teams right now that are good. But I think they're well on their way. They were turning the ball over a little bit too much for my liking, but in that series. But I think those are valuable lessons that they have to learn. I can guarantee you he's going to be talking about taking care of the basketball and making the right plays at the right time, like watching what some of these other guys, Halliburton's been able to do for his team in the clutch moments. Like if they're watching their film back, they were not making the big shots at the right time when they needed to, or getting the big stops when they needed to. So I think this playoff series will definitely catapult them to some future success for sure.
Awesome. So you mentioned being a selfless player in the high school. And it's going, that you really have tremendous respect that just owe a lot of kind of like your foundation to your high school coach, Coach O.
Yeah.
Was it just something that he really instilled in you, or he saw in you, or just his coaching philosophies? What was it that, allowed you for him to mold your talent and mold your team's talent?
Yeah. I mean, he was just an incredible motivator and just speaker of truth and just belief, and not just me, but a lot of the players that played for him. And he just had some people just have it, right? They have this personality that's just magnetic, and you just, whatever comes out of their mouth, you're like, sure, okay. He could tell me to try to climb a wall, and I'd probably go do it or whatever. But I was very much drawn to him, and I believed in what, he said and what he thought I was able to do, what our team was able to do. And that to me was really powerful. And for the first time, someone speaking kind of belief into myself before I even really felt it or knew how to even make it happen or go about it, I think was really impactful for me at a young age. So just will always be someone that I dedicate so much of my success to, because he brought out the best in me and, really set the tone for what was to come after that.
And a lot of that word too, right? Belief.
Oh yeah. That's all him, man. So I'm just trying to carry it forward and pass the torch.
And Coach was started at the school in '81. And so I think we all kind of grew up on hoop dreams a little bit. How did it feel as an athlete stepping into a program with that prestige?
For sure. I think that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go to Detroit Country Day. I mean, you look back and just the types of players and people that attended, our school was pretty impressive. And there's something about attaching yourself to greatness and excellence that I think is really powerful, and it brings out the best in you, specifically me. Being around greatness to me makes me want to be great and pushes me every single day when I wake up to be the best version of myself and to really challenge myself to step outside of my comfort zone and do what's necessary to reach that peak. And I think I was challenged in every way, academically, athletically, socially, whatever it may be. And I needed that at that time. And I think I attribute so much of what I've been able to do in my life because of those 4 years.
That's awesome. All right, so I'm gonna go off script too. Absolutely ask everybody that we find and we know about this, when they're on the show. You just recently went to Africa. I don't know if it's your first or if you've been multiple times, but please talk to us and share that experience, because like I just love to hear, when we get to go back to the motherland, like how was that for you? Give me just kind of like what made you go to the destination you went. Anything you'd like to share about that?
Yeah, it was incredible. Trip of a lifetime. I mean, I'm pretty traveled, but had never been to Africa. Had always wanted to go. I think my partner and I are very much like animal lovers, and so we'd always wanted to do like a safari. And I think it had to do with like the timing of the trip. Like we knew we were going to go in May. It was my birthday, so it was it was my 40th birthday. I know this on the internet, so everybody knows now. But but like really trying to do something big and kind of level up for that, because that's a milestone. And so we were going to be there for a while, so we felt like if we're gonna go, like let's do this and let's really see the most of it. And so we did safari for 4 days. We then went to Cape Town and we did the city for 4 days, and then we did like their winelands for like 3-4 days as well. So just like as great as you could ever imagine it to be, from the just the background, the animals, the food, the people, the culture, the vibes, the views. I mean, just really great. And I feel like the biggest thing for me was like, I feel like they, and by they, I mean, maybe, what we see on TV or social media or the internet or whatever only gives us a certain depiction of what Africa looks like. Right. And then you go over there, and now we were in South Africa, but still like you go over there and it's just beyond your wildest like imagination of what it is. And it was great.
And that's why we love to ask that question, because that needs to be shared. And you brought off the best point of that, right? Like a lot of the depiction of what it is versus that experience that you get. So thank you so much for sharing that, Coach.
For sure.
MH.
So, Coach, Western Michigan, how did you get to the selection of the school of your choice? And talk to us a little bit about the recruiting pitch. And would you have recruited yourself?
Of course, I would have recruited myself. Yes. Gritty, hard worker, just wanted to win. Like, I think the recruiting process was difficult for me, right? Like I tore I'm part of the ACL club. I tore it my junior year of high school. Unfortunately, I tore it in the state semifinal game my junior year. So that was a whole story in and of itself, because I ended up coming back. And so my senior year, we ended up playing the team in the state championship that I tore my ACL against, and we beat them my senior year. So it was kind of a storybook ending for me, but that complicated my recruiting process. Obviously, my dream school was the University of Michigan. I always wanted to play there. But Western was a school that stuck with me throughout the process, throughout the injury, and never really wavered. And I felt like, I'm a Taurus. Loyalty is huge for me, and just that relationship building that I was able to do. It's kind of funny though, because I remember Western, Eastern, all those schools, called initially, and I was like, I'm not going to Western. Like,
not doing the directional schools,
like,
huh?
I'm not doing any of that. Like, my goal is this, and that's what I'm gonna accomplish. And it didn't end up happening at the end of the day. And so I just laugh about it now that I actually ended up going to Western. And no, I loved it. It was incredible. I think it allowed me to really see things through. For 4 years, you see the landscape of everything right now, and just how, especially at the mid-major level, the best players in the mid-major level are there for a year, 2, 3, and then they're on to the next, shiny thing. And for me, I joke about it now with my staff. I'm like, I could have played at UConn if, like, back in the day, had I, had the same rules applied with what I was doing in terms of.
Well, I'm glad you're starting to slowly get into it. You didn't just go there. Like,
you just weren't on the team.
Yeah, come on now. If I was gonna do it, I was gonna do it big. So I was able to accomplish a lot, especially individually. Unfortunately, we were never able to win our league and go to the NCAA tournament, but had a great career. Loved my teammates, loved my coach and coaches, and it was great.
Take us into the mindset of a scorer or a player that's averaging over 25 a night.
Yeah.
what's the mindset going into the gym each night? When
Yeah.
you are the scouting report off top. Hey, we got
Yeah.
She has the green light.
Yeah, we got to stop her off top. That's what we doing to win tonight.
I think, we talk a lot about it as a staff with like our team, like, who are the dogs on our team, right? Like who has that like dog mentality. And, I'm getting more and more removed by the year, but I feel like as a player from my recollection, I had that dog mentality of like, I am the best player on the court. No one can guard me. I'm going to do whatever it takes, for our team to be successful. And again, that started at, when I was younger. And I think when I got to college, you're able to like really work and hone in on said skills and work on your game in a way that you never have before. And I really didn't even start playing basketball until middle school, right? So I was a late bloomer. And I was taking off like every year. My development just continued to improve, and I was falling more and more in love with the game and the grind and just the work. And anyone that falls in love with the work, like what you can achieve is whatever you want it to be, really. And so I think that's what you saw. Every year I got better, and every year the team needed me to do more, and I was excited about it.
So you still the all-time scorer, or has someone come and broke that?
No,
still
not
hold
yet.
that title? Let's
Not
go.
You got that one, Coach.
Men or women, man, it's still there.
I love it.
Yeah.
So were you the Cheryl Miller of your family? did you do your brother that way, man?
Pretty much. I think he kind of figured it out. I mean, especially once I got to college, he was like, yeah, this is her thing. I'm going to go do my thing.
I'm over here with it.
But he's my biggest fan. Like, he's such a great big brother. And I mean, he was at our Ivy League tournament with his wife and my two nieces. That's awesome. And flew out to Durham for our or Raleigh for our NCAA tournament game this past year. So I mean, he's there for it and cheering me on every step of the way.
All right. Oh, you got one more, MH?
No, I mean, and just shout out to you, Coach. Not only an outstanding athlete, but graduating with honors. We always hear the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So yeah, clearly you took the dedication in the gym and you took it into the classroom as well.
For sure. Yeah, I think if you're a competitor, right? Like if you got the dog on the court, like you tend to have that, like you say, how you do anything is how you do everything. It's like you tend to have that in every aspect of your life. And so, and again, Country Day, like it's a high academic, school. And so I was trained from my time there to really excel in and out of the classroom. So
love it. So we want to transfer into the next topic, man. This is what we call the game, right? This is where we talk about getting into your career. And we want to not brush by, right? Because like there's a transition where you were still, you graduated, you were drafted, part of the WNBA and like going through that process, which is a really big transition. So what was it for you, right? Like, on the training squad, being drafted, then, going overseas. What was that transition, that time frame like for you? Like, hey, getting ready to go to the W, probably a dream with, the work that you put in. Talk to us about that transition and the two teams that you had a chance to be with during the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was it's kind of nerve-wracking, to be honest. Like, you have your hopes set on being drafted, right? Especially after you have this great senior year, you lead the nation in scoring, and you're like, there's no way that I'm not one of the best, however many, 40 guys that gets their name called that night. Especially, I was invited to like the WNBA draft camp and all that. And so to not hear my name called, I think was a huge blow. But again, just reset this, like, this work that needed to continue to be done. It was just like a reset, a great reset for me.
And also probably a chip, right?
Yeah. I mean, and those chips have always continued to be stacked on my shoulders throughout, my career. So that was nothing new for me. That feeling of, okay, they don't think I'm good enough type thing. Right. Like, and I'm going to show them. So it just, got back to the work, fortunate enough to sign a free agent contract, reported to camp, Did that, was in camp, right up until the final rosters were set. So an amazing experience, great opportunity for me to see the level at which I'm trying, to get to and what was needed, from me. I think the biggest thing for me was like, I was very much a scoring guard in college, whereas, I'm not tall by any means. I'm 5'9" on a good day with basketball shoes. I'm shrinking by the day now. So, but they, I needed to be a point guard. I needed to be someone that could really handle it, get teams in set offense, and really know where I should be. Everybody should be on the floor, handle pressure, all that. So that was a shift, right? And a hard shift to make when you're not necessarily comfortable, and that really isn't the role that you've played for 4 years prior to that. And then I go overseas, and again, I'm kind of slotted as this like shooter scorer that scored all these points in college, and they have a point guard. So I'm more of a 2 guard over there. And so I don't really get the reps that I need. I come back, kind of same situation in Chicago that I was dealt with in Phoenix. So yeah, kind of a reality check, but also was just a great experience to even just get to that point. Had a great time overseas. I mean, it's incredible. Like in hindsight, looking back on it, probably should have played longer.
So how was Poland? Did you like it? That was one of the teams you were. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, great country, incredible people, great fans. They loved the team. The team was kind of up and coming at that point. Now it's like we were able to get the team we played in the Euro Cup. We finished 3rd in the Euro Cup, so that was a huge deal for us to medal in the Euro Cup. And since that year, the team has just continued to rise, and now they're one of the best teams in Poland. And so yeah, it was a great season over there. In all honesty, I'm the type to just like, what else can I do? How else can I, continue to level up? I needed to be paid. My parents, middle-class family, I'm not able to fall back on them. So if I wasn't playing in the W and I was only relying on, overseas money, it's like, if I don't have anything solidified for overseas, it's like, okay, I need to have a backup plan. So I started to look into coaching, and then, an opportunity came about sooner than expected. And it felt like an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. So that's kind of why that shift happened as quickly as it did.
Great transition, Coach.
Great transition.
I knew it was kind of time to
No, I was going to say, you actually mentioned it. I actually saw an interview recently with Darren Waller, who used to play for the Raiders and the Giants, and he talked about a play that he was like, I had to lead block on a couple plays. I knew I was kind of done after that point. He knew he was going to retire. So, I mean, was there – obviously there's opportunities, and we all had to take care of each other, ourselves and family, but there was a moment while playing where you were like thinking of coaching, or was this something that was always kind of in the back of your mind during your playing career?
Yeah, I get that question a lot. Everyone's like, did you always know you wanted to be a coach? Because some people do. Like, that's just they know they aspire to be that one day. And I don't really think that's the case for me. I was very coachable at the time. Like, I just wanted to be coached. So I loved that player-coach relationship. I wanted to be great, so I was very open to people's feedback and those that wanted to help me get better. And so then when it came time to trying to figure out what could be next, coaching just seemed like, the next best thing to still being a part and around the game that I love so much. And that had given so much to me. So it's like, to me, it's only right that I, give back in a way and kind of pay it forward to the next generation.
Love it. So, we talked about a couple of the teams, and I'm pretty sure as we have this conversation, there'll be parts we can bring, other teams that you've worked for in that. But with all the success you've had, with all the other teams getting to those next levels and championship, things like that, what is that key ingredient that you brought for those that you brought to Harvard, right? Because in your short time, y'all been winning, right? So what is that ingredient you think, that you were able to bring from those past, coaching situations you were in?
Yeah, I think just the work. I know I sound like a kind of
A coach.
like on repeat, and I'm sure my players would attest to I just say the same things over and over again, but it's like I just think it's a winning formula. Like if you can be about the work and you're locked into the process, like the outcome will take care of itself. And we really emphasize that more than we probably ever have this past season in my first 3 years here at Harvard. And I think the girls were really able to kind of settle into that approach and really found great success within it. They were less worried about like getting to the end and the outcome and more about just like the daily grind and how to get there and how to show up every single day. And I felt like at the other places that I had been assistants at, it's like we were very much as well a part, like huge emphasis on the process and showing up daily as winners and as champions in order to be champions and winners, at the end of the season when you want to be.
I mean, to where you're at now, and I know my little brother. He's a coach on the East Coast, FDU.
Okay.
So he's going through the process of, climbing the ladder until he gets to that point where he can have his program.
Yep.
Talk about that process and that grind to get to where you're at now.
Yeah, it's interesting because just like I never really said out loud, like, I'm going to be a coach. Like I don't think as an assistant, I was ever to the point where I'm like, I'm going to be a head coach. Right. It just happened to, kind of fall into my lap, if you will. Like it was a great opportunity. They really made it very clear that they wanted me to be the next leader of this program. It aligned with, everything that I'm passionate about, excellence, high achievers, academic success, athletic success, in a great city, in a great league. So just couldn't have asked for a better opportunity. And I think, there's always that like little bit of doubt of like, am I ready? Can I do this? But at that point in my career, honestly, I'd seen so many others, step into these roles, and I'm like, if they can do it, I definitely can. And I had worked for so many just incredible head coaches and had learned so much. And I just felt like I had seen it done the right way, and I knew the formula and was just ready to have a program of my own and do it my way.
There it is. So Harvard, right? Like notable brand institution of itself, right? And then you're coming there. So is there something that you thought or believed and it was different when you got there? Or was this kind of like, you're going into Boston, Massachusetts, you're going to Harvard, you're about to take over and lead the team. Was there something that was there that you didn't think would be there? Like what was that kind of going into, like your preconceived notions?
Yeah. I would say just how humble and, down to earth and very normal people are, student athletes are, our team. You have this, like you said, this kind of preconceived, like it's Harvard. This is what this place is like. This is what the people are like. And we say it in recruiting all the time. It's like, you can easily think that, but please come visit us, come spend a day with us, come spend a weekend, and you will see that like we are very normal. We are very much just like you and your family, and you guys will fit in, perfectly here. And I think that just kind of, it starts in our program, at least it starts with me and our staff, and just the authentic kind of genuine, like realness that we bring. We're very much ourselves. And if you know me, you know that I'm pretty chill. Like I just go about my business and show up every day. I try to have a good time and do, what I love to do every single day. So I'm not overly pressed trying to like be who Harvard wants me to be. I'm going to be me at Harvard. And so, yeah, so it's been a great place to really transition. And honestly, like, especially, I think as we're talking about Black people in sports, it's like, I think Harvard, it was very needed for me to be there, and to bring the presence that I bring, and just to stand for what I stand for, in our athletic department and throughout, our university and campus. I think I've been very well received.
And I think I'm glad you said that, because that was kind of one of my questions, and I don't know if you need to expound upon that because that was perfect. But like, you are doing the part that the main thing's the main thing, right? You are winning, right?
Yeah.
And are you taking the time and the breath to understand what you're doing for, like, we talked about on our live show, people seeing the Asia commercial with her having her own shoe, right?
Yeah.
So not only to go in and have the success, as a Black woman, woman of color, and where you're doing it at. There's been stories of how, Boston culture and just, there's been history of that. So do you sit back and like have awareness and just, I don't want to say pat yourself on the back, but just give grace for what you're doing there?
Yeah, I mean, not really in the mix of it all. Like in season, everybody's like, "How's it feel? How's it feel?" I'm like, I have no idea how I'm feeling. I'm just just worried about tomorrow's practice and tomorrow's game, and But I think now this summer, like really having time to like take a step back and reflect and just really look back on the year that we were able to have and the team that we put together, and just how well the synergy was, and and just me leading the way. I think. It could have easily gone a different way, but I think what we've been able to do as a staff has really put our team in the right position to take off in the way that we have.
And
And
congratulations! I mean, just absolute congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. But I just think we have the right people in place. Like I think I'm pretty well qualified for my job, and I think I've hired folks around me that make me look good and that our players enjoy, and we've recruited great players, great teammates, and our culture is in a place that we're really proud of at the moment, and just excited to kind of build on that, with future recruits that we have coming in, and it's great, and I want to continue to reap the benefits of being in this unique position and being a Black female head coach at Harvard. Like, it's just a story that I want to continue to tell. And I know that people will continue to latch onto it because it's just so incredible. And you saw it firsthand with the success that we were able to have and how many eyes we had on us throughout the length of our season.
Yeah, no, and continued congratulations, Coach. You really touched on something that I want to talk about was culture and starting a culture. And, you were one of the first coaching decades at the school there. So we have a lot of business leaders, sports business leaders that come through the podcast, and this is often a topic that comes up of establishing a culture. So how do you go about establishing a culture and continuing to build off of it?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's the most important thing. I think obviously you got to get players and you've got to you got to get great people in your program, but I think once you have accomplished that, it's like, who are we going to be about? How are we going to treat each other? What are we going to emphasize daily? How are we going to act, interact, and respond, to each other? How are we going to show up for one another? And I make it very clear that I could care less about us making shots or getting stops. It is for me very much about like how we show up and, what type of team we are. And when people watch us, like, what are they walking away saying about our team? Like, how do they feel after they watch us? What type of vibe are we giving to them? But most importantly, like, what is that feeling in our locker room? What is that feeling in our huddle before we break and go out on the court? Like, that type of stuff is what I really emphasize on a daily, and that's the stuff I'm coaching more so than probably any basketball stuff.
And then building a staff for the first time, how was that for you?
Yeah, a process that I really had to like like get in with and get comfortable with. I wanted it to go much faster probably than it did, but I took the time to hire the right people. I think looking back on it now, I feel like I did a really great job of just really trying to really know what I know about myself and try to hire folks that I felt like could amplify the good things about me, but also, kind of cover up maybe the things that I know I either am not as good at, or don't really want to do. So I think I did a great job there. I think it's a diverse group of folks, and we're all very different, but at the end of the day, I think we all very much like are aligned in the same way, if that makes sense. Like, we very much kind of have that like mid-major chip on our shoulder, just gritty work ethic. Let's grind and let's work and let's see what we can do here. And great people great relationship builders. If you can have a conversation with someone and just enjoy spending time with that person, like, to me, you can accomplish anything in this business. So
we're a business podcast, right? So, and the sport of business is really, really evolved. And what's one of the business aspects of being a head coach and, coaching a team that you have not liked, or that you kind of, I don't want to say have issues, but just definitely something that you have to be more mindful of that has been different than definitely our playing days?
yeah, I mean, a couple things come to mind. Like, one would just be kind of managing up and like fundraising and things like that. Like, as a head coach, I mean, if you know me, I'm comfortable on the floor, and I just want to get after it on the court and just like kick it with our players off the court. Like, but when it comes to, having to talk about money and raising money and how can we do this and all that, it's like, I want no parts of that, but I know it's such a huge part, especially right now in this landscape of, what we're trying to do as a program. And, nothing is cheap these days. And if we want to continue to provide a certain type of experience for our players, that requires a certain type of money. So yeah, that's one that quickly comes to mind. I think the other one maybe is just, really just kind of managing people, and that's not anything I don't like, but I think the process of like having difficult conversations, I think is very much like a business approach, right? Like, you're having to have these like direct, honest, this is what I'm seeing, these are the results, and we've got to make decisions based on that, and that can be difficult, right? When I'm very much an empath and like want my players to like feel good, and and they probably would laugh at me for saying that, but but that is the case. And so I think that business approach sometimes can be a bit much for them.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead, mate.
Being a recent nominee of the Inspire Awards from the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce,
Yeah,
you're clearly doing something in the community, right?
Because
I've spent some time in Boston, and I know how many just different leaders and schools and institutions are just in that that area there, and so you're having a tremendous impact in a very short time there. How was it to receive that award?
Yeah, it was incredible. A surprise. Didn't know I was even nominated. Just because everybody was getting up accepting awards, and they're like, "Thank you to so and so for nominating me." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know who nominated me, but thank you for for that nomination." But yeah, I think again, just a testament to all the hard work that was put in in these last 3 years. But to be in Cambridge, right, to be surrounded by all of these impactful women that are in these just way more impressive fields than me. I'm just coaching basketball. These guys are like creating, like cancer research and like coming up with like all these just ridiculously cool and impactful, things. And so it was very much a kind of reflection moment, and kind of, just laughed about the fact that, just us building leaders through sport is equally as impressive as, what some of these other guys are doing in science and hospitality and, education and all of these things. But
Okay. So speaking of education, right? So when we were coming out, right, there was Prop 48, right? And I just want to understand, like, their academic standards. And it's not, I don't want to get into like the recruiting, because you've recruited at Princeton, right? You've recruited at other Ivy Leagues. So it's not about that. But where does that crop of people, and how does that work or impact you when you're looking at those talented kids, right? And I know it's like, it's not Prop 48 anymore. I think they changed it. So is it like on a sliding scale? Is it like, how does that work when you're recruiting? Because Harvard's still going to hold those educational standards for those type of players to get in there.
Definitely. I think that can be, again, kind of one of the preconceived notions in terms of, just I have to be the best in my class, valedictorian, all of these things. But as long as, you have shown that you're going to challenge yourself in the classroom, which means there's going to be a certain type of rigor on your transcript. So that could be honors, APs, IBs, whatever that kind of next level class is at your institution. That's what they want to see, and they want to see that you can succeed and do well in those classes. Testing is now a thing again at Harvard. So SAT, ACT, more traditional approach, if you will, again, for our student athletes. So that's always a conversation now that we're having. And again, it's like, it doesn't need to be, the best SAT score, the best ACT score, but obviously the best that you can do individually, I think is really important. But they're, at the end of the day, they're very much into the holistic approach to the potential student athlete. And they want to know the whole story, like what type of student they are, but also what type of athlete they are, and what type of impact are they going to have on our program and our university, and what that looks like from our perspective as coaches. So I think that's also really important to note.
That good old sliding scale, right? A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Nothing
Right? We need that.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Great on the curve. MH, quick hits. You ready to do this?
Yeah, Coach, this is just some kind of quick hitting questions so our listeners can get to know you a little better.
Yeah.
First thing you do when you wake up?
Wow. This is really bad. I probably roll over and I hit the snooze on my phone, which does not at all dictate the type of human that I am. But in the morning, the snooze is definitely hit at least once or twice. And then I'm probably looking at my text messages or emails before I actually physically get out of the bed.
No judgment. I'm very random.
I put that on the internet.
Yeah. No job. I'm very random, so these are very random as well.
Okay.
What's one of your nicknames?
Ooh, so Simo is like an OG nickname for those that knew me in high school and college. Right now, my team calls me Como. That's like their kind of short name for me. My staff calls me Cocha, kind of a little Spanish vibe to it. But yeah, those would be my three.
So Lefty's little sister.
What'd you say?
Lefty's little sister.
Lefty's little sister. Yeah, that was the OG of the OG nicknames.
Back in the childhood, favorite childhood TV show?
Ooh, I'm gonna go Saved by the Bell.
Okay, I like it. Trent. So with athletes now in this current stage, trends that you just don't understand or get?
Oh, I really do have a hard time with TikTok. I just don't the dancing. It's okay, if you're a good TikTok dancer, does that make you a good dancer, or does that just make you a good TikTok dancer? Do you actually have rhythm? Can you actually dance? And I still to this day don't even know how to post a video on TikTok. If anything, I'm just scrolling. So I don't really get it, honestly.
I'm agree, Coach. And then can you tell your players they don't have to remix something that's already a classic. It's lean with it, rock with it. Don't add nothing else to it.
And how all the popular songs are only popular because they're on TikTok. It's so then it's not a good song, actually.
Couple more. Pancakes or waffles?
Ooh, pancakes.
Apple or Android?
Oh, Apple for sure. Yeah.
Thank you. And then my last one. Loving basketball or the wood?
Oh, that's hard. Loving basketball, I guess, but the wood is pretty. I mean, now being on the East Coast and having gone to Martha's Vineyard and all that, that's kind of dope to look back on. But loving basketball is hard to not say that.
Okay. I'm good. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, of course. That was great.
Yeah, some moments. All right. So we're going to jump into the winner's circle. All right, we're going to bring it home here. On the winner's circle, this is where we talk about what you're promoting, what's on your mind. And you came straight out and you said, I want to talk about my team. So with that in mind, we want to just kind of, I guess, break it down. What is your team's objective for this year, right? Like I know, or hopefully, I don't want to speak for you, but like hopefully, there's some things that you set right at the top level. You're the CEO of the team, and then maybe your seniors kind of come in with some inputs. But what are some of those things that you're thinking from like a high level, or some goals, or what you're shooting for, other than getting another championship?
Yeah, I mean, I think we want to just continue to build on the success that we've had in the last 3 years. I mean, our seniors will now be a part of our program for the entire time that I've been the head coach here. So they've been with me every step of the way. And we had a taste of what that championship feeling feels like, and getting to the NCAA tournament. And I think that just getting there feeling is something that I think we want to now get there, and then win a game in the NCAA tournament. And that requires a certain level of consistency and and just competition throughout the year. So we want to just make sure we're winning every day of the season. We've got a younger group. We've got a newer group. We graduated 2 guys that have played a lot of minutes for us and done a lot in their uniform the last 3-4 years. So yeah, it's going to be done in a different way, but no reason why we're not, capable to take advantage of all the opportunity that's on the table for us.
And I want to jump right into the people that have left, right? And one of them I want to talk about was Harmony Turner, because she was a Las Vegas Aces, and as our listeners know, we are based here in Las Vegas, and so that is our hometown team. How was it? How did you talk to her, right? Like, because you prefaced this when we talked earlier about how it is. She actually, you said, got drafted, right?
Yep.
So what is the conversation with her and her mindset of, being drafted 35 to the Aces, and then ultimately like not making it, right? Like that's, you get your dream and then it's kind of taken away from you.
For sure. I mean, I think it started really, during her time at Harvard. I knew that was something that she wanted to accomplish from day one. It was a conversation that I had with her of like, okay, what are your dreams? What are your aspirations? What do you want to accomplish here? And I think having the experience that I've had and the career that I had, I was able to really speak her language and really understand what it was that she wanted to do, not just individually, but collectively as well for our team. And I think, it was really incredible that we were able to accomplish so much of that. And she really did as much as you could do probably in a Harvard uniform this past year. And I think the biggest thing was, I said, hey, if this is what you want to do, this, you want to be drafted, you want to be a pro, well, I'm going to coach you like a pro. So let's not get it twisted when I'm holding you accountable to whatever said thing is about, lifting, eating right, getting up and getting in the gym, your consistency, your leadership, how you show up, whatever it is. If you want to be a pro, then let's do as pros do. And so that was huge. And I think this year specifically was able to kind of shift a gear in her mind. And I think when she got there, like after being drafted, I mean, she was anxious as hell, but she heard her name. We all went crazy. She was, so thankful. And then she got there and she was like, wow, like, okay, there is a separation here, and not that she can't ever get there or achieve that and make a roster, but, I think it was definitely, kind of to see it, right? Like, I could only tell her so much of what it was going to be like, but for her to actually be there and see it and feel it in her own way and with her own eyes, I think was the most impactful experience she probably could have had. And now she's back to work and, she's going to go overseas. And so the grind continues. And we've talked about, what those setbacks can do and how they can ultimately, present these incredible, amazing comebacks, and what that story can look like too. And she's that type of player.
She got that chip now, right?
Totally, yeah. And she's done that. I mean, she's been said no, to 1,000 times. Not good enough for this, not good enough for that, and she's all about proving people wrong. And I'm right there with her and ready to see it happen. So.
The grind that you mentioned. There's a quote that you said, getting your team ready to play before the Ivy League championship. Everything worthwhile is uphill. It's not supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be hard.
Yep.
Starting towards this season, how does that quote apply to the program?
Yeah. Shout out to our mental performance coach, Todd. I mean, that's one of his Toddisms, as we call it. And we had talked about that leading up to the week. And, for me, that was just a reminder to them heading out, to the court, that it's not supposed to be easy. And nothing in our 3 years at Harvard has been easy. Our league is so good and it's so hard to win. Especially consistently. And so I think those reminders are always, really great. But I think for this upcoming team is just, my goal is to just attack every opportunity that comes our way. And it's not going to be easy. It really isn't, because we are essentially kind of reinventing ourselves and building upon, the legacy that Elena and Harmony have left for our program. And so that really forces some of our players to really come back, different versions of themselves, and have to do a lot more for us. So I'm excited to see them attack, what that can look like, and really put this program in a position to be successful with them at the forefront of it finally.
Absolutely. And so let's get into returning players, right? So they know that the mindset. And we have to give a shout out to our love Gabby, number 5.
Yeah, come on now.
She was on the show early on. Just an amazing. I mean, if you talk about a testament of the character of people that are special, right, in so many ways, and then can play ball. But so shout out to Gabby.
Yes, Gabby, love you.
What do you have developed right now with some of your returning people, right? Like, they've been through the program, they've seen it. So what are you looking at for your core right now? And then we'll get to some of your new recruits. But what are you looking for from your core and your vets right now?
I mean, top of mind is, we were one of the best scoring defensive teams in the country consistently throughout the year this past season. And I think I know that is something that, is the expectation. That is the standard moving forward defensively. And I'm very much okay with winning ugly. If we can't score, like, we're going to be in the games. It's going to be 55-50. It's not fun to watch. I'm sorry, fans, but it puts us in a position to always be successful if we can sit down and guard. So what we were able to do this past year, I believe that we can do just as good, if not better, with what we have coming back. I think we've got great size. We've got great length. We've got great strength across the board that I don't know if we've necessarily had in our last three teams, that I'm really excited to see, what can come about with this group defensively, and how we can kind of add to our press, add to our half court defense, and be even better. So that's one for sure.
And then some of the new recruits that's coming in.
Yeah.
Awesome them.
Yeah, I mean, we've got 5. I think it's back-to-back classes that we've had 5, first years, which makes for 10 underclassmen, which is a whole lot. But I'm excited. I mean, we had two of our first years this past year played a lot for us, and we've got 3 on the bench that we felt like, could really improve over the summer. So excited to see what those guys look like when we come back. And then to your question, the 5 first years coming in, we feel like, very highly recruited, have the potential to be really good. A couple of them we feel like have to help us right away. We've got a, top 100 ESPN kid in Aubrey Shaw. Just really think she has the ability to be an incredible kind of stretch 4, big guard, shooter. And then you have a kid like Olivia Jones from PA that can just, like I said about myself when I was younger, just like utility, strong, 5'9", 5'10", can guard anybody on the floor, can do a lot of things, can really mix it up. So there's just a toughness to a piece to our 5, and just a unity piece too as well. I think they're going to be a great class together, but also just, really continue to be a great representative for our culture.
Go ahead, Mitch.
And the thing about, and not to get super in X's and O's, I just love where the game of basketball is when it comes to just a versatility standpoint.
Yeah.
A lot of teams do a lot of different things, and it's really strategic, coach to coach, game to game, series to series, up and down the court. I guess in today's game and the versatility of athletes, how strategic do you have to be, on a possession by possession, kind of strategy as you kind of compete in the Ivy League?
Yeah, I mean, versatility is huge. I think we talk a lot about it as a staff in our recruiting meetings. I love versatility because it allows you to, play multiple positions offensively, but then also guard a lot of different positions defensively. Offensively, we really want to play positionless basketball, whether it's a 4-round-1, 5-out situation, whatever our alignment is. We don't want guys to be like, well, I'm a guard or I'm a post. It's like, no, like you're a basketball player. And like, we want you to be able to rip and go no matter where you are on the floor and turn and face, or be able to score with your back to the basket, whether or not you're a big or a guard, right? And giving them the space to really make that happen. And then I think defensively, just really trying to use that versatility and be strategic about, what we're doing in the press, like who's guarding whom, can we switch, can we trap, can we hedge, can we, what can we do to really be disruptive? And I think the more length that you have, the more athleticism that you have, to really be able to do that, I think is going to equate to more success for us.
For sure.
All right, last question before we wrap it up. NIL is changing the lane, right? So how are you, and it's great to hear that you have not a performance, I maybe call him a performance coach, but how are you preparing? What'd you say? I'm so sorry.
Mental performance coach. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
So how are you, coaching to be dynamic and the grit and those dogs to prepare them to win, the Ivy League championship, to make it to the NCAA tournament, but also the pressures of running their own business because now they become their own business in NIL, as well as protecting their mental, headspace, because that's a lot that I'm speaking for myself. I say we a lot, but that I didn't have to deal with going, to school, right? So how are you balancing that? And it seems like you have some things in place, but if you could share with our audience about that.
Yeah, I think just trying to be intentional about the time that we spend and not over emphasizing the time actually on the court. Like a lot of the stuff that we do is off the court, whether it's, team bonding, team activities, doing other things that could be fun outside of playing basketball, right? Like what can we do as a group to just like spend time, take a second away from the court and just have a good time with one another, I think is really important. Our mental performance coach that I've mentioned, Todd Setner, is great. He is, I think, someone that has really allowed us to kind of tap into that other side of like, whether it's like performance anxiety or, just dealing with failure. For the first time, especially at Harvard, right? These guys are such high achievers. And for the first time, they're being told that they're not necessarily great at something, or they're not the best player, or they're getting their first B or C in the classroom. It's like, how do they deal with that? How do they handle that adversity? And what's their adversity response? Can they handle the truth? Are they truth tellers? Do they speak truth to themselves first, like, and also to those around them? Can they really take me speaking truth to them, because that's what I'm going to do, and that's what our staff is going to do. So I think really trying to have someone else outside of myself, really trying to speak those lessons to them and give them the, the certain phrases and messaging that they can really, kind of, really grasp and hold on to, throughout the length of a season and the grind of a season, I think is really important. So, and we have different coaches on staff too that I feel like are very intentional. We've got a leadership academy. We do kind of academic groups. We try to go and like meet our players where they are on campus and spend time with them. So it's not less, but not always that, them coming to us and them, coming up to the offices, because that in and of itself can be, high anxiety for them to do that as well. So we try to just mix it up and really meet them where they're at and have an understanding and an approach that works and is there for the balance, I think is really important.
It's really important.
Yeah, Coach, I needed your staff about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Golly.
We definitely weren't doing it
Good
20
facts.
years ago. There's
Ah,
I mean, we were practicing for like 5 hours 20 years ago.
man. And then meet me in the office. No
Right.
coming to where I'm at.
No water and better be on time. Okay, so to get you out of here, Coach, this is what we call the assist. All right, so this is where you get to drop a coaching gem, maybe a coaching philosophy, or even just words to live by. It could be something simple as a quote that you've always resonated with, or something you would tell your younger self. So kind of share that assist or that coaching gem with us.
Wow, that's I want to make sure I'm saying. I mean, you know, I think it always just goes back to, for me, and we mentioned it earlier, but just like, you know, the how you do anything is how you do everything. I think that's something that it was interesting that you said that, MH, because that's something that, you know, I very much emphasize with our team, and it's like printed out on a sheet, and it's like on my wall in my office, because I just think it's a great way to, you know, kind of really show up, and it's a representation of, you know, who you are, right? Like if you work hard in this setting, then I know that I can trust and count on you to work hard in this other setting. And that's why I like high achievers. I like folks that we can really recruit here to Harvard, because I know that they have a drive about them that's going to fuel them daily. And that's something that I can really attest to just from my own personal experience. But so yeah, that would be great advice to my younger self, is, you know, how you do anything is how you do everything. So show up in the right way, no matter where you are and who you're surrounded by. Yes.
So MH, man, you ready to give us those final thoughts?
No, Coach, just really appreciate you. I know you're on the East, you know, Coast time, so you stayed up with us on this one. So we are really thankful, and you know, much you know, prayers and success to you and your team and health. And I'm glad we caught you on your way to continue greatness, because you know, there's some high you know, standards that I know that you're going to push your team to in your career. So thank you for, you know, spending some time with us.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, MH and EJ. Thank you so much for having me on. It's great, and I love talking hoops and just, you know, the life journey. So I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely, and we can say we knew her back when.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. More to come. So stay tuned.
Absolutely. So we'll definitely be watching and supporting. So I want to thank Miss Anderson, who got us in touch with Miss Lawson, who got us in touch with you. So we want to give them a special shout out. Thank, you know, like you said, Coach, it takes a team. And we want to thank you again for like staying up, spending with us. We're excited that you could join us, and we're excited to see your continued success this season. So we'll be following, supporting. And most importantly, we want to thank you, the audience, for listening. I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. As you know, we drop new episodes every Thursday, so click subscribe if you haven't. Share with a friend or two, because Coach did drop some wisdom, some knowledge, and it was just another enjoyable show. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, because visual representation matters. And then also, you know, you can find us anywhere we listen to podcasts. And as we sign off, we want to say, please stay safe, practice gratitude, and know we're rooting for you.
Screaming, all us blacks got is sports and entertainment until we even.
Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yeah. Yeah. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Yo. Look. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. Spent about 2 racks on handmade new rags. Assuming I'm rooting for everybody that's black. That's everybody from sports to college class to rap.